You picked up your phone today before you even got out of bed, maybe before you opened both eyes. You told yourself it would just be a second, a quick scroll, a glance at notifications, nothing serious. And then 20 minutes dissolved and you still don't know why. But the real answer is far stranger than laziness or bad habits. The real answer is hundreds of thousands of years old, and it has almost nothing to do with your phone. Your brain is not a modern organ. That is the first thing you need to understand. The tissue inside your skull, the architecture of your attention, the thing that makes you feel vaguely anxious when your phone is in another room, none of that was designed for the world you live in now. It was shaped by a world that no longer exists. A world where information was rare, where missing a signal could mean death, where the cost of not paying attention was not a missed email, but a predator stepping out of the grass. The technical term for this is evolutionary mismatch. Psychologist Randolph Nesse, who spent decades studying why humans suffer in modern environments, describes it as the core tragedy of the human condition. A brain built for one world, trapped inside another. Your hardware is ancient. Your software is ancient. But the environment you are running both on is brand new. And nothing crashes harder than old code on new infrastructure. So here is what your ancestors were actually dealing with. For roughly 300,000 years, your species lived in small bands of between 50 and 150 people. No cities, no strangers, no abstract social networks. Just a tight cluster of humans who knew each other completely, who depended on each other for survival, and for whom social exclusion was not a metaphor for embarrassment. It was a death sentence. Being cast out of the group meant no food, no protection, no mate. It meant ending. Your brain evolved to treat the social environment with the same urgency it treated physical threats. Rejection and a lion were not so different in their consequences. Now think about what a notification is at the neurological level. A notification is a social signal from an unknown source arriving at an unpredictable interval, carrying unknown weight with unknown consequences. Your ancient brain does not experience that as a mild curiosity. It experiences it as exactly the kind of high-priority social information it evolved to chase. Who sent it? Are they angry? Is the group shifting? Am I in or out? Your amygdala, the brain region most associated with threat detection and emotional memory, fires before your conscious mind even processes what you are looking at. You feel the pull before you make the decision. The decision comes after, and you confuse it for the cause. This is the insight that neuroscientist Kent Berridge spent years trying to communicate. Berridge, whose research on the dopamine system fundamentally changed how scientists understand desire, identified something he called the wanting system. It is not the same as the liking system. Wanting and liking feel similar from the inside, but they are neurologically distinct. Wanting is the drive that pushes you toward something. Liking is the reward you feel when you get it. And here is what makes your phone so powerful. It hijacks the wanting system almost perfectly, while delivering very little through the liking system. You reach for the phone. The reach feels urgent. You scroll. You feel almost nothing. And then you reach again. Berridge called this incentive salience. The phone is not pleasurable, it is compelling, and those are not the same thing. Compelling things do not require you to enjoy them, they only require you to pursue them. Your ancestors pursued information the same way. In the ancestral environment, every novel stimulus in the environment was worth investigating. A sound in the trees, a change in the wind, the behavior of an animal on the horizon. Information was not cheap and plentiful the way it is now. Information was scarce and potentially life-saving. The brain that ignored novel stimuli died. The brain that investigated novel stimuli survived. And that brain, that hungry, information-seeking, threat-scanning brain, is the one you inherited. Psychologist Lawrence Patihis has studied how human memory and attention prioritize threat-relevant and socially relevant information above almost everything else. It is not that your attention is broken. It is that it is working exactly as designed, in a world that no longer matches the design. Every time a social media platform delivers a new piece of content, it is triggering the same deep circuit that once told your ancestor to stop and look because something in the environment just changed. You do not scroll because you are weak. You scroll because your brain is doing exactly what kept your bloodline alive. But knowing that does not make it feel any better. Because here's the part nobody talks about. The anxiety you feel when you are away from your phone is real. It is not trivial. It is not a character flaw. It is a form of hypervigilance that your brain has misdirected onto an object that, in its social architecture, mimics the thing your ancient brain cares about most. Your standing in the group. Every like is a tiny signal of inclusion. Every silence after you post something is a tiny, ambiguous threat. Are they ignoring me? Did I say something wrong? Is the group shifting away from me? Your brain cannot tell the difference between your tribe of 80 people deciding to exclude you in 50,000 BC and a post getting fewer engagements than expected. The threat detection system is not that precise. It responds to the shape of the signal, not the content. And social media is perfectly shaped to trigger it, endlessly, at every hour of the day. Nessie has a phrase for this. He calls it a supernormal stimulus, an artificial trigger that is more potent than the natural thing the brain evolved to respond to. A phone is a supernormal social environment. It contains more social signals, more status cues, more threat-relevant information, more opportunities for inclusion and exclusion than any human brain ever encountered across its entire evolutionary history. You were never built to handle this. Nobody was. And yet here you are, handling it. Badly sometimes, brilliantly other times, using the same 300,000-year-old brain to navigate something that has existed for less than 20 years. Researcher Jean Twenge, who has tracked generational behavioral data for decades, observed that the sharpest changes in human attention, anxiety, and social behavior began not with the internet broadly, but with the mass adoption of the smartphone. The device that made the supernormal stimulus available continuously, with no off switch, from the moment you woke up to the moment you finally put it down. The mechanism is not addiction in the clinical sense, though the language is everywhere. The mechanism is simpler and older. It is a brain that evolved to monitor a small, stable, knowable social world, now asked to monitor an infinite, unstable, unknowable one, and responding with the only tool it has. More vigilance, more checking, more scanning for threats that almost never arrive, and rewards that almost never satisfy. You are not broken. You are overextended. The circuit that makes you check your phone was the same circuit that kept your great-great-grandmother 10,000 times removed alive on an open plain with predators on all sides and a tribe whose opinion of her literally determined whether she ate tomorrow. That circuit worked. It was brilliant. It was finely calibrated for a world of genuine stakes and genuine feedback. Now it fires for a notification from an app. The mismatch is not a bug your brain has. It is a collision between two timelines. The slow timeline of evolution, which moves across hundreds of thousands of years, and the fast timeline of technology, which moves across decades. Evolution cannot catch up. It was never designed to. The environment changed faster than biology can follow, and the distance between what your brain expects and what your world delivers is the space where discomfort lives. Tonight, when you reach for your phone before you have decided to, try to hold that moment for 1 second. Not to judge it, not to feel bad about it, just to recognize it for what it is. A 300,000-year-old brain doing exactly what it was built to do in a world it was never built for. The phone is new, the need behind the reach is ancient. And understanding that will not stop you from checking it tomorrow morning, but it might be the first honest reason you have ever been given for why you do.